Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC for the evening, anchor for CNN Newsroom, John Berman.
Good evening, everyone. If I can ask you to take your seats. The evening's events are about to begin. As was just announced, I am John Berman. I'm an anchor at CNN, which is a television station. I was asked a moment ago, we saw you last year. Are you still on the radio? And I said, maybe, but I'm also on television on CNN. It's an honor to be here. I am so honored and privileged to be asked to be part of this GOSO Gala. You're going to hear a lot of facts and figures tonight. I want to frame the entire night in 4 different numbers: 0, 100, 15, and 930. These are the numbers you're going to live by the next 2 hours and should inspire you to open both your hearts and your wallets. First, 0. In my line of work these days, we agree on 0 things. There is 0% consensus right now on just about any subject. We can't agree day is day, night is night, water is wet. In fact, on my show at 9 o'clock this morning, we had a panel on that subject, is water wet, and both sides lost. We can't agree on anything, which makes the number 100 so extraordinary and so important. Roughly 100% of people right now agree with the goals of GOSO: getting out and staying out. Empower young men to avoid involvement in the criminal justice system, get them out of the cycle of incarceration, educate, train, counsel, reshape, motivate. Everyone agrees with that. And this is no small thing. I'm glad you applauded. Honestly, it is no small thing to me to be here in this island of tranquility amidst this sea of chaos. This may be the one bipartisan area of agreement left on Earth right now. This has more support, more universal support than bunnies or like kitten selfies. And again, to me, this is truly special and truly important. When we can find one thing, that unicorn that we all agree on, we have to stop messing around and do something about it. And GOSO is doing something about it, which brings me to the number 15, an extraordinary number. Fewer than 15% of GOSO participants returned to jail. 15% compared to a national average of 67%. Now, I read out loud for a living. I'm not good at math. But the difference there, I'm smart enough to know, is staggering. By my calculations, that's a 52% difference. I'm not even sure that's mathematically possible. GOSO is defying the laws of physics, right? Altering the physics of recidivism. A 52% difference. Try to think of something, anything, that's having as big and dramatic of an impact. And we are asking you here tonight to be part of that impact. And don't just alter physics, alter lives, because these aren't just numbers we're talking about. These are people. Go to Harlem. I've had a chance last year to go to the offices, the GOSO headquarters up in Harlem. Go to the headquarters. Look at the faces of the social workers. Look at the faces of the clients. See the commitment for yourself, and you can see how GOSO is defying physics. Finally, no small thing, 9:30, the last number. Our goal is to finish by 9:30 p.m. tonight, which would make for a full and efficient night of inspiration. It will be made even more full and efficient depending how quickly and generously you participate in the evening. So please, please help however much you can. And in the spirit of efficiency and generosity, frankly, I now want to turn it over to Reg Andre, someone who has given so much of his time and energy to GOSO. Reg, the chairman of the board.
was a really it's a warm welcome. Did my mom put you all up to that? No. Thanks, Mom. And thank you all for coming out tonight to support Getting Out and Staying Out. You know, one of the things I love most about the GOSO galas is getting to preach to the choir, because there are so many familiar faces, people who have been involved and been supporting us for so long now. Thanks for coming back. But another thing I love, another thing I love is seeing all the new faces, though. To those of you who are new to GOSO, welcome to the family. We look forward to getting to know you better and finding some good ways for us to work together and do some good. So tonight, just like every night and every day at GOSO, is all about the young men we serve, the guys as we affectionately call them. To the guys in the room, I'd like you to stand up for just a second. Stay standing, please. We are not done yet. I'd like you to take a look around. This room is filled with hundreds of incredibly successful and truly amazing people. And make no mistake about it, the only reason they're here is to celebrate your accomplishments and to support your continued success. Listen, I know you guys have worked so hard, overcoming obstacles that most of us here could barely even begin to imagine. You're giving it your all, you're accepting support, and you've changed the direction of your lives. And for that, all of us want you to know that you are some of the most successful and amazing people in here tonight. Great. Soak it in. You guys can take a seat whenever you'd like. Sit down. Yeah, go for it. Enjoy your salad. So the theme of this evening is reshaping futures. So I'd like to spend just a few moments talking about what that actually really means for some people and what it takes to do it. So I'd like you all to imagine something. I know you don't have to close your eyes or anything like that, but I would like you to stay with me on this for the next couple of minutes. Imagine you're 16 years old. You, your brother and sister, are being raised by a good, hard-working mother who can't seem to work hard enough to make ends meet. You all love each other, but you find yourselves tense and frustrated because there isn't enough food, clothes, or entertainment to share. And you look around your neighborhood, most of the men you know, they've been locked up, are underemployed, and have to check in with a probation officer before doing anything they want to do. You have more friends and family who have been involved in gun violence than you have friends and family who've graduated from college. And you barely see anybody on TV who looks and lives like you unless they're committing a crime, in prison, or just acting stupid. And at school, there aren't enough textbooks for the classroom or enough quality teachers to engage you. And besides, it's hard to pay attention when you're hungry and frustrated. So you act up some, and your ill-equipped school puts you into special education classes instead of providing you with counseling or giving you a mentor. And back at home, your mom's flipping between being angry with you and being upset with herself because she can't provide. And you want more, and you know it's out there. You know that some people, somewhere, are happy and proud of their jobs. They drive nice cars. They go home to a big, clean apartment that's warm in the winters and cool in the summers. And you want that for yourself and for your family. You deserve it. So you want to help. You want to take action. You think to yourself, how do I do it? Do I study really, really hard for this week's social studies quiz? Is that going to put food on the table? Or do you go down the block to where your mom told you never to go and see how those kids made their money? Well, I'll tell you, in that moment, maybe Harvard's feeling a little far away for you. So you go down the block and you start doing what the other kids are doing. And it's going good for a while, making some good money, helping with the bills, getting some good food, new clothes. But then you get arrested, shuffled through the court system, and locked up for a little bit. Degraded and beaten down all along the way. And while inside, you hate it. Constantly on edge, angrier, and less trusting of people, especially of authority, than you've ever been. And you barely feel like a human, let alone a teenager. But when you get back out, the kids in the block, they're welcoming, because they've been there. They know what it's like. So you get back at it, and this time you're not trying to get caught. But again, eventually you do, and this time your mom kicks you out of the house. So you find yourself thinking, again, what do I do now? You're so tired of running. You just want to make things right. So maybe you look for a straight job. But you don't even have an address to put on a resume. Don't have a high school diploma. Don't have any good clothes to wear to an interview. Have no idea what to say during it. And even if you somehow nail it, who's going to hire someone with a record? So you feel stuck and hopeless and angry because you know you're a good person and you've got so much to offer. And you feel like you've just never had a chance. And that one isn't coming your way anytime soon. Unless you go back to the block where everybody knows your name, there's money to be made, and you can try even harder not to get caught. And my point here is that for too many young men in our city, the future is already written, and it is not good. It's not right, and it has to change. But I know it can happen. The GOSO staff knows it can happen. Any one of you who have volunteered knows it can happen. But don't take our word for it. Just talk to Eric, a GOSO guy who just yesterday finished a 4-month course on cybersecurity and is about to begin an internship for this summer. Ask him how his future's looking. Or talk to Kevin, who began GOSO's Pathways to Graduation program in February and has made such great progress so quickly that he's already scheduled his high school equivalency exam for next month. Ask him how his future's looking. Or talk to Rayshawn, who's in a pre-apprenticeship program at the local 79 union, where he's completing his job safety training and specialized construction skills training. In just a few weeks, he'll be a dues-paying member of the local 79 union. Ask him how his future's looking. Johannes, Martin, King, where are you guys? Raise your hands. Great. You guys enjoying college so far? Treating you well? How your future's looking? That's right. Congratulations, guys. And look, this isn't me just cherry-picking examples. Success is the norm at GOSO. Over 85% of our clients don't return to jail. 85%. And in our Pathways to Graduation program, after just 1 year, our clients' reading levels are increasing 3 to 4 grade levels. And in just the past 4 years alone, GOSO has placed over 350 guys in paid internships across 70 businesses in our city, often subsidizing the compensation as an incentive to employers. And you know what? 75% of these placements have resulted in unsubsidized full-time jobs. So, how do we do this? Through holistic programming focused on the 3 E's: emotional well-being, education, and employment. And when you deliver this through the hardest working, most caring, most committed, most professional, badass staff in New York City, that is how you reshape futures. Now, I'd like to just ask 3 things of each of you here tonight. First, raise awareness. Spread the word about GOSO. Tell people about our cause and about how well our guys are doing. It's simple. Just start by following us on social media and inviting your friends to do the same. Second, engage. Come visit the office. Spend an hour or two talking with our guys. Volunteer as a practice interviewer or become a mentor. And third, invest. Make a personally meaningful contribution tonight in our mission and in our guys. If you continue to support us, we'll continue reshaping futures. And now, it's truly my honor to introduce to you the man who started this all, Getting Out and Staying Out's co-founder and president, Mark Goldsmith.
Good evening. If you've been to a GOSO event in the past, welcome back. And if you haven't, let me welcome you to the GOSO family. Sitting with you all tonight is a group of people who decided that you really want to be part of a family that cares about young men 16 to 24 years of age who have been dealt, as they said, a very bad deck of cards. Caught up in the criminal justice system at a very young age, they have never had the options or the support that most of us in this room have had. Trust me, they are not looking for the proverbial handout. What all they want to be doing is giving a chance of success. And that's what GOSO is all about. That's why you're all here tonight. Virtually all the funds raised will go into the programming that has been created and executed by the GOSO staff. Now, I'd like to, with that thought in mind, I want to reiterate this one thing. People wonder, how do you spend money? Why do you spend your money? People use a terminology, value added. Every penny that we spend undertakes a rigid test. Does it help the GOSO guys? Does it improve their life? More education, more skills. So we really are shaping the futures of these young men. And I know you asked you guys to stand up before, but I'm insisting you stand up one more time. Let me just see where you guys are. Come on, let me hear it. Yes. All right. You guys are looking really sharp, let me tell you. All right. Now let's go through the family. I want to talk about the family. We don't have one, we have two educational teams. The New York City Department of Education staff works with our guys in our own facility, the high school equivalency program, where there are more certificates this year than ever before. But it didn't start here, it started on Rikers Island. That's how I got to think about GOSO. So sitting with them tonight are the people from the Department of Education who schlep out to Rikers every day and doing an incredible job. They're sitting here tonight, and they're sitting with a very famous person. This is the woman who said to the pencil organization, send that guy Goldsmith back to Rikers, and that's Miss Gloria Ortiz. Where are you guys? All right. The staff. Reg had his own way of describing you all, but I must tell you, my life has been made so much easier since we put together the staff that we have now. They work tirelessly with the guys to achieve the results that you've seen tonight. And I don't know where you guys are, but would you mind standing and let this crowd hear it for the staff of GOSO? All right, yes, yes. Now, all right. One thing about getting out and staying out is we are open to suggestions. This one came from the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. They wanted us to create a team in East Harlem that would go into the housing developments to reduce violence. Get in there, talk to the youth about being less violent, not picking up guns, not moving from becoming a crew member to a gang member, but rather taking education more seriously and recognizing if they did not change their behavior, they would end up in Rikers Island with many of their neighbors. This group is outstanding. They are called Save East Harlem, and listen to the milestone, and I'm going to have them stand and be recognized. They celebrated a milestone recently. The milestone is, in over 380 days, there has not been a single shooting in East Harlem, thanks to these people. Where are you guys? There they are over there. It's the Save East Harlem team. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Every organization needs a board of directors, and we're very fortunate to have a new leader in Reg, who you met. We also have a great team. They're seriously involved, volunteering, mentoring, and coaching, in addition to helping me with three-year planning. Where is the GOSO board of directors? You mind standing up? I know you're a little embarrassed, but just, where are you all? All right? All right. Stand up, Mr. K. All right. I mentioned about the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. So I think they're somewhere in the room. Jessica, Kana, and Eric, where are you three? You're somewhere. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. You're beginning to get the sense of family. I want to talk to you about initiative, and John Berman referred to it before. Last year, I spoke to you about a very serious problem in Washington. The fact that the Attorney General was talking about setting back the clock 20 years by reinstituting mandatory drug sentencing. Things like the Rockefeller drug laws. That's how we got to 2,200,000 incarcerated versus 200,000 at a cost of $80 billion. We're 5% of the world's population. We incarcerate 25% of the people in this world. In the fall of last year, and then again last month, I was invited to Washington to meet with the President and the Attorney General to discuss criminal justice reform. It was a very interesting meeting. Everybody at the table was very impressed by the fact that we have a 15% recidivism rate, that our cost is under $6,000 a year versus hundreds of thousands of dollars to incarcerate somebody for a year. Here's the most important part, and John, you hit the nail on the head. You happen to be 100% right. Rare. Not rare. Sitting around this table were Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, all talking about criminal justice reform. I remain in contact with this group, putting as much pressure on the Attorney General to listen to parties on both sides. I don't know if you guys know the name Senator Grassley from Iowa. You couldn't get any more right-wing than Grassley is. Totally supportive of our efforts. The Koch brothers, totally supportive of our efforts. So what I'm thinking is that, simply said, we believe that programs like getting out and staying out are a much better use of this country's money than investing in prisons. Now, one of the things that Reg talked about was the 3 E's: employment, education, and emotional well-being. There is another side to the GOSO guys that we have not spoken about. There are other programs in GOSO where the guys have an opportunity to express themselves. And had you been in Harlem at the Apollo Theater this past Tuesday night, this is what you would have seen.
We're actually backstage at the Apollo Soundstage Theater, and we're getting ready for the second annual GOSO Arts Showcase, Roses Out of Concrete.
Most people know that getting out and staying out is very focused on education and employment. But at the same time, this is a holistic program. I see these guys every day going through the program, and I don't see them expressing themselves creatively. And so the idea came, why not get them involved? Why not let them express themselves in ways that a lot of people would never even believe that they could do that?
The teachers told me I would never be shit. The police told me I would never be shit. My parents used to say that I would never be shit. So in the back of my mind, I think I'm not gonna be shit.
You know, let's get you a stage, let's get you some microphones to really let you share your words and your stories and your thoughts with your larger community.
If you were here last year for the hip hop contest, that was one of the most exciting nights in GOSO's history.
And since then, we've had an improv showcase. The guys have written, directed, and starred in their own play.
Dr. Noto, when is it going to get warmer?
When
Global
warming stops.
The piece we're doing tonight is basically showing how you can take a negative and turn it into a positive.
Look at my predicament and see me as him. You know, wouldn't you want somebody to give him a second chance? You know, and give him a second chance at life.
Whatever you put the time and effort into, you can achieve those goals. You just have to put the time in when no one else doesn't.
I learned more about myself that I actually could be good in acting. I never really thought about being an actor.
The work we do with the guys in the arts is about a bigger purpose than just a performance. We're getting into uncomfortable positions and being confident in those uncomfortable positions. Getting the guys to express so that when they go out into the wider world, they're more confident in being who they are, just simply being who they are.
The restoration of their souls and their spirits through the art, which is very powerful. Their resilience to get up there on the stage and make things happen.
I mean, this was beautiful. It was so raw, so beautiful, so honest. I was very moved by it.
Starting out in GOSO, I was sort of like a seed. And GOSO gave me all the nourishment to blossom into who I am today.
Hey, yo, shout out to my sister and my daughter in the front row, too. Hey, yo, shout out to Save. Shout out to GOSO.
These guys are really hard working because they got jobs, they got families, and then they got to do this thing that they're not used to doing. Improvising, acting, writing, directing themselves.
When we first meet them, particularly on Rikers Island, they don't feel very good about themselves, and they don't really feel they have much of a future. And what our job is to help them understand there is a future.
He put it all in the strap, zip up.
I just see intelligent men who are curious about the world. They're thinkers, they're learners, they're performers, they're entertainers. There's so much, they can't be boxed in. And I think that intelligence is just them knowing the possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are endless, just amazing. We wanted to thank Harmony Richmond for helping put that event together last week. Extraordinary. The only thing it missed was Mark, MG, doing hip-hop, but that is available in the silent auction coming up over the course of the evening. On that note, the silent auction is still open. That's part of my reason to be here, to tell you, please take out your phones, check out the wonderful items that are available. They will be open and available till 8:15 tonight. Also, coming up a little bit later, we're going to have some wonderful awards to honor some truly amazing people that have done things that really help move GOSO forward. At this point, I want to introduce the Associate Executive Director of GOSO, Sarah Blanco. I had a chance to meet Sarah last year when I visited GOSO, and I was checking out her bio on the website today, and she was asked, you're going to be embarrassed about this, you would never say it about yourself, what was the most memorable moment you've had here? And she says it was when one client came in crying one day and told her, GOSO is the only place I feel good. You all watch out for me. And Sarah watches out for them.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us to celebrate our amazing participants tonight. Ingie is right. This is all about the guys. And thanks for the beautiful speech, Reg. This is the best part of the night, listening to our guys speak about GOSO's impact on their lives and what they are doing to reshape their futures. These guys have so much potential, so for the next 3 speakers, let's give them a very warm welcome. First, I want to introduce Martin, a truly thoughtful and humble young man. Martin joined GOSO and quickly became a leader in the GOSO community. After a college trip with GOSO staff to Cornell and Binghamton, Martin decided college was his future and is currently enrolled at BMCC studying psychology. Take it away, Martin.
Wow, I'm truly amazed by this crowd. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Martin Garcia, and thank you for listening to my story. I'm 22 years old. I was raised in the Bronx, New York, by a single mother. Throughout my life, I had suffered from bullying, which led me to making a lot of mistakes and even hanging out with the wrong crowd of people. In 2015, my past caught up to me when I was arrested and charged with grand larceny, and I was facing a 7-year penalty in prison. At that time, I was working at Shake Shack, and I managed to get my case pushed back to 2016. When I went back to court, I was given a year of probation, and a few months later, I became unemployed. I went through a phase of self-destruction and deep depression because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I was facing 7 years possibly. That's when I reached out to a close friend named Miguel, and I asked Miguel if he knew any jobs that were hiring and programs that I could join. And that's when he recommended GOSO. He knew a lot of programs, but thought GOSO was the best because they treated you like family. The next day, I went to GOSO, I scheduled my intake, and I was impressed with how welcoming everybody was. Chelsea became my career manager, and she told me all the opportunities GOSO presented. After I successfully completed the 2-week curriculum, I took advantage of the opportunities the GOSO presented. By the end of the year, I earned my OSHA in general construction and maintenance, and I also earned my scaffold and flaggers license. I also earned my 8 and 16-hour security certifications. I applied to college, and I'm almost done with my first year at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. Wow. I'm just majoring in psychology. When I went back to court for my final sentence, I was nervous because I didn't know if my efforts was enough. And when I told the judge all I had accomplished, he had decided to close my case. I feel like I was given a second chance at life. But GOSO didn't change my life. It also changed the lives of my friends as well. I've recommended over 10 people to this program, many who have got their GED and are now starting college. My goal is to use psychology, earn a degree in psychology, to coach young kids to get on track so that they don't make the same mistakes I did. And hopefully, like Chelsea and the GOSO team, help me get to where I want to be at in life. They say when you change one person, you change the world. And in closing, I would like to say, if it wasn't for GOSO, I'd be doing 7 years. And if it wasn't for you guys, there would be no GOSO. Thank you so much.
Wow, if that story doesn't make you want to support GOSO and be a volunteer or support our clients, I don't know what else could. Amazing, Martin. Next, I want to introduce Kendrick. What can I say about Kendrick? He's smart, he's fashionable, he's funny, he's an overall talented guy. While at GOSO, he worked with a tutor and earned his GED. Through GOSO Works, he got an internship with Rochambeau, a high fashion clothing company, and is now working on his own fashion line. When you meet Kendrick, his warm smile and enthusiasm are infectious. Come on up here, Kendrick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kendrick Burrell, 24 years old.
I'm from Harlem, New York. I was raised by a single mother. My dad was incarcerated for most of my life, so it was just my mom, younger brother, Contrell, and I on our own. Being born and raised in Harlem, I could honestly say it made me gain that hustler spirit. In a good way. I always dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur, but growing up, I did not always have the necessary resources I needed to start my dream. During my sophomore year of high school, I can honestly admit that I was extremely distracted. Only reason is because I was just so busy trying to be the cool guy all the time. I hung out with the wrong crowd and eventually dropped out of school because I struggled with math terribly, and I was just too embarrassed to just face my fears and, get it done. I failed my Regent exam twice, so school was just not an option for me at the time. I was caught smoking pot inside of a residential building with my friends and ended up going to jail for a very long weekend. I never wanted to ever experience that feeling of being in jail ever again. All I could think of was my dad and just how I did not want to, lead down that road. So once I got out, I ended up doing 7 days community service, and it was the longest 7 days of my life, but it was just enough. I decided to head back to school. I joined Mid-Manhattan Learning Center, and my goal was to get my GED. And that's when I bumped into my friend Xavier, who has been an active member at GOSO for a while. He introduced this program to me, and I never really understood what the program was about, but over time, he just kept, pitching this idea of me joining and bettering my life. So in 2016, I became an active member at GOSO. Yes. During my first few months at GOSO, I decided to just take on my insecurities with math and study with a tutor for a while. When the exam came up to take my GED, I passed with flying colors. Yeah. I no longer had those insecurities of, being horrible at math. And, it was time for me to work and just start a new chapter in my life. I still held on to my dream of being a young entrepreneur, so all I needed at that moment was a strong foundation to invest. So with GOSO's Ready to Work program, I earned my construction license and started doing construction. As a scaffolder. But it wasn't at all what I expected it to be. So eventually I quit because it wasn't a strong enough foundation to invest. But my mentors, Harmony and Lauren, did not give up on me. They put in a good word for me at this fashion brand called Rush & Bow, and it landed me a 6-month internship there. Yeah. I've learned so much during my time at Rush & Bow. I've learned the ins and outs of how to run a profitable online business by the help of lead designer Lawrence Chandler. A month after starting my internship, I finally had the investment money due to saving all the checks I received each week. And thank you. And I invested most of my money into new inventory, and I created a website and named it Ken and Ken after my brother Contrell and I. Yes. I hadn't seen any real profit though until like 3 months after, but but it was definitely worth it. And as time went on, my internship at Rush & Bow was nearly coming to an end. But I can honestly say that I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that GOSO presented to me, because without their help, it would have been extremely challenging for me to start my very own business. So I thank them for that. GOSO, I can honestly say this, you guys are more than a nonprofit organization. You guys are a family to me, a family to all of us. And one day I look forward to giving back and improving the lives of others in a positively way, as you have helped me and many others.
in that positively way. Thank you.
Good evening, GOSO Gala. My name is Jeffrey Golia. I'm the Director of Clinical Services and GOSO Works, our employment development program. It's good to see you all tonight. GOSO's mission has always been to level the playing field and help our participants reach their goals of education, employment, and emotional well-being. When I was tasked with developing our employment program, now called GOSO Works, I sought to create employment opportunities that could help our participants with those 3 E's through to professional development and eventually financial independence. Our next speaker truly exemplifies the aspirations and goals of our program. From participant to alumni to site supervisor for one of our employment partners, Davon McLean.
Good evening, everybody. All right, bear with me. I really liked what Reg said earlier, just in reference to explaining why some of the reasons why impoverished youth go down the wrong path. I feel like he hit the nail on the head. So thank you for that. Thank you. So as a child, I remember often thinking to myself, I really want to be great. I remember seeing the world as a big race, and I wanted to win. Sometime later on in my adolescence, I began running very fast, only I was running in the wrong direction. Eventually, my poor decisions landed me in prison, and I was sentenced to 5 to 15 years. While incarcerated, life slowed down, way down. I was able to reflect and look at my life in retrospect and all of the decisions that I've made. I spent about 6 months in a military simulated program called SHOCK. The purpose of SHOCK is to help myself and others get into the habit of consistently performing tasks that will benefit us here in the outside world. It's only now that the 5 a.m. runs and the drills and getting screamed at in my face, it's only now that all of that's over that I can say the SHOCK program was great. No, it was really beneficial. After completing the SHOCK program, I was then sent back to a standard prison and later enrolled into another program called Work Release. It was upon my arrival at Work Release, which is based in Harlem, that I discovered GOSO. The stipulations of working at Work Releases are you're still a prisoner, but you're allowed to go into the world and work, and you report back to the prison afterwards. Stepping into the world into the free world as someone who's technically a prisoner it could leave you feeling cold, Fortunately, my arrival at GOSO, it was like really warm. I felt like the staff there were all genuine and really cared about their jobs. People weren't there just watching the clock tick closer to 5, waiting to go home. And I really appreciated that. Yeah. Thank you. It was GOSO that worked with me to find a second job. After finding me my first that wasn't really suitable for me, they found me one that was even better, that I liked. It was GOSO, Harmony Richmond, Jeffrey Golia, Jenna Roth. They connected me to the Horticultural Society of New York City, where I currently work. I guess you can say that it was GOSO that gave me my first initial look at what a positive work environment could look like. I guess you could say GOSO is the reason for me falling in love with the Hort. While working at the Hort, I've applied everything that I learned over the years to maintain discipline and consistency while working effectively and efficiently. I have been lucky enough to go from intern to seasonal to full-time employed in my current position as Workforce Development Manager. I'm both humbled and exponentially grateful for this. So, ever since I was a child, I've wanted to be great. I still do. I want to be great at being myself. I want to be my best me. Both GOSO and the Horticultural Society have contributed immensely to my development as a human being. Thank you. Thanks again to Harmony, Jeffrey. Thanks to MG at GOSO for creating and maintaining a warm, inviting, caring environment packed with valuable resources for myself and others. Thank you to Sarah Hobel, George Pizzagna, Nick Guntley, and Sam Lewis of the Hort for providing an opportunity and placing your trust in me, which in turn encouraged my growth. And finally, I just want to thank all of the GOSO participants that are here, just for your contribution to society and making it through whatever struggles you may have endured. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors. So thank you.
Every year, we honor one GOSO employer partner that has gone above and beyond in their commitment to help our participants achieve their personal and professional goals. Last year, we honored Dos Toros, the best taqueria in New York City, now Chicago, and soon the world. Hey, Toros, stand and be recognized. Woo! There you are. This year, I'm really excited about this. We're honoring our longest tenured employer partner, the Horticultural Society of New York. Or as we say around the office, the Hort. MG, I was crunching numbers the other day. MG asked me to crunch numbers all the time. Since 2013, the Horticultural Society of New York has employed nearly 70 GOSO participants on their green team. Gets better. Nearly 100% of Hort interns earned either employment or education, like their high school equivalency diplomas, after their placement ended. And they liked Davon McLean so much they hired him, which is pretty amazing. These participants learn amazing hard and soft skills with the green team. From the value of hard work and punctuality to pruning and deadheading, it is truly an edifying experience for our participants. Just one more thing before MG comes up here and cuts my mic. The Hort has had an incredible program on Rikers Island since the early 1990s, providing both training and support to incarcerated people through horticulture. Well, while we will be holding an Employer of the Year event in May, we would be remiss if we did not recognize them at our annual gala. So who better to give the award to Sarah Hobel than Davon McLean?
I know these dinners can be long, but I just have to say a few words. I know that the Horticultural Society of New York, I took over about 9 years ago, and my close friends said, those little old ladies in blue hair and the hats, you know, and who do the flower show. And the secret of our organization is that we are primarily a social service organization, and we have been running this program on Rikers Island that does horticultural therapy since actually the late 1980s. And we're very, very picky about who we will work with outside the island. Our program runs 7 days a week. Our participants come 5 of those 7 days, and our staff are intimately involved with the success of each and every one of our participants. And so when they're released from the island, we hoped they would come to work for us at the Green Team, because frankly, we felt we were the only ones who could do a proper job of continuing to help them on their pathway to success. And that was until I met Mark Goldsmith, who you all know as MG. I still refer to him as Mark Goldsmith. Mark is a kindred spirit. I mean, it was clear to me from the beginning, and more important than clear to me, clear to the staff on Rikers Island, Hilda Cruz, who runs that program, that Mark was building an extraordinary program and had secured extraordinary staff to start his internship program. And 2 small, like-minded organizations, we came together and we said, hey, let's take a chance and see how we can go. And we did. And I will say that when Jeffrey Golia came along, things really, really took root. So the staff on my end care so personally about everybody in our Green Team program. Equally, so does everybody at GOSO, and that's what makes this work. So thank you very much for this award. We have learned at the Hort something from every single GOSO participant that we've had. I will say, any of you would be lucky to have Dave on in any circumstance. He is a standout, and you should all look to him and say, what's the magic that works? I have the 2 people here who run the Green Team on our end tonight, Nick Guntley and George Bazania. I credit them fully with the growth in our program and with the partnership with GOSO. And when they came into my office and they said, we'd like to hire one of the GOSO interns seasonally, I couldn't have been more excited. When they came back in about 9 months and said, he's so fabulous, can we bring him on full time? It was outstanding. When they came back in after we'd lost one of our managers, in fact, the person who managed our workforce team, they said to me, we think we have a candidate right here who can fill that position. And that was Davon. And sometimes I look at Davon and I sort of wish maybe some of my other staff had his work ethic and his sense of achievement and where he has to go with his life. So thank you all very much for this recognition. We are so proud of all of our participants, and in particular, Davon.
I'm Julia Friedman, the Director of Corporate Affairs and a Senior Career Manager.
And I'm Emily Barnard. I'm the Coordinator of Volunteerism and Communications. Okay. As MG, or Mark, mentioned before, volunteers are the lifeblood of GOSO.
Here is a brief view of why these 7 stellar volunteers are setting the tone for our first annual Volunteer of the Year Awards.
Sam Fremont Smith has written over 1,000 court letters that have gotten countless GOSO guys out of jail. Sam.
Kwame has prepared at least 35 GOSO guys for interviews.
Robert Harwood Matthews has mentored one young man throughout his entire incarceration and reentry process, and who is sitting next to him tonight.
Julia is one of our founding Action Board members, always willing to dive in no matter how big or small the task.
Cindy Rifkin meets with the GOSO guys every Thursday to enhance their meditation and yoga practice.
Ari Chappelle took his teenage mentee to every fun experience in New York City that you can think of.
And Martin Harris has saved our guys hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes over the course of 10 years.
Martin, are you with us tonight? Okay. So please join us in giving the most heartfelt round of applause that these volunteers all deserve. Perfect.
Oh, wait.
So, Emily, MG wanted to make sure that everyone knows you helped coordinate this whole evening, so thank you very much for everything you've done. Emily Bernard. Thank you all of the volunteers. And I want to give a special quick shout out to Martin, Kendrick, and Davon. I know you have so much to be thankful for to GOSO, but I just want to add, you did this, guys. This was a choice that you made to go to GOSO, and you've made this happen. And as Davon would note, you are all great. So thank you for everything you've done for yourselves. We want to give a special thank you to some very special people in this room. These are groups or organizations that have purchased the $10,000 or higher tables, big supporters of people who continue to support GOSO. You can see the names up there on the board. There's still time if you want to get up on the board to reach that level. So by all means, feel free to get there. The live ask is coming up in just a little bit, where you will get your chance to participate and be part of this wonderful organization. The silent auction has been extended until 8:30 p.m., so there is time to get all the wonderful items that are still up for sale. Too many New York sports teams items as far as I'm concerned. I come from Boston. Nevertheless, some great items, so make sure you check out the silent auction. We're going to give you a few minutes to enjoy your dinner in relative silence, and we'll be right back.